Good morning, Cedar Park High School. It's Wednesday, December 2nd, and it's a B-Day. I'm Ella Neal.
And I'm Abby Martinez.
On today's show, we have a story over how you can tell if the news we're watching is fake or not, what you can expect this year with midterms.
The top of things you need to know for today, and a new edition of the Pack Chat.
Let's jump in because the Wolfcast starts now. Social media has been in the majority of students' lives for as long as we can remember, and in recent years with the growth of social media has come the growth of fake news.
It's hard to know what is real and what is not. Fortunately for us, Justin Boyer has more on how to notice fake news.
Thank you, Ella and Abby. With Twitter and Instagram being a part of most of our everyday lives, how do we know whether the information we're getting is true? With the election coming to a close, a lot of fake news was pushed out to influence the election. ABC reporter Pierre Thomas has more on why it's important for the youth to notice fake news.
How they get their information and having the proper tools to discern what they should be paying particular attention to. That's going to inform how they vote for president. That's going to inform how they vote for city council. That could inform how they vote for who's on their school board.
Fact-checking is an important part of your browsing because you don't want to share and spread more fake news. Senior Landon Berry shows us an experience he had with fake news.
Earlier this week, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. had a boxing match. And right after the boxing match, on Twitter, TMZ posted, Mike Tyson knocks out Roy Jones Jr. But if you watch the fight, you know that wasn't true. But the reason it got so popular is because they got caught for having millions of bots come in and retweet it, so it got really popular, but then it got taken down immediately for them getting caught. So you never know if it's real or not. You just gotta look into it more.
Next time you're on your phone, think twice about your social media browsing, and be sure to know the information you're getting is trustworthy.
Thanks, Justin. With these changing times, it is more important than ever to make sure what you are seeing, but not only spreading, is true.
Definitely. I'll make sure to check my source before sharing.
As many high school students are aware, the end of the first semester is usually filled with studying for midterms and finals. This year, though, the semester will be wrapping up a bit differently. Due to virtual schooling and COVID-19, midterms and finals for the first semester of this school year have been canceled. Dean of Instruction Jennifer Coleman has more details as to what that means for fall report cards.
Normally we calculate the 3 grades as like roughly 86% of your final grade, and it's about 14% roughly is your final exam. So instead of having that, it's going to just calculate your 3 6-week averages together, and that will be what's used to determine the final semester grade for the fall.
Ms. Coleman says that whether or not spring semester exams will be modified or canceled completely is still being decided.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting that we either won't have midterms or they'll be different this year.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it could be a load of stress that no one needs right now.
Yeah, for sure. Up next is your top 3 things with Madeline Roberts.
But first, this break.
Smoky Moe's Barbecue, the best barbecue that money can buy, proudly supporting Cedar Park High School.
Hi, I'm reporter Madeline Roberts of CPHS News, and here are your top 3 things that you need to know for today. First, the pandemic continues to interrupt college plans for Texas seniors. Data shows a 15% decline from last year of Texas high school seniors having filled out federal financial aid forms. High school counselors report that they are struggling to connect with students in a virtual environment about college applications and financial aid. To help, the state has launched the Future Focused Texas program to maintain college enrollment numbers during the pandemic. Next, the legendary Austin barbecue restaurant House Park Barbecue went up its smoke on Tuesday morning just after midnight. The owner was able to escape, and luckily no one was hurt. Open since 1943, the restaurant claims to be the oldest barbecue pit in Austin. The owner has set up a GoFundMe page named Rebuild House Park Barbecue to raise money to repair the damage, while Austin fire crews are investigating the cause of the fire. Lastly, even with the pandemic pausing most holiday traditions this year, the lighting of the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree is not one of them. The televised event has Kelly Clarkson and Dolly Parton scheduled to perform. However, the general public will not be allowed in the plaza and will have to view the tree in specific tree viewing zones with masks and social distancing. And that's all I have for you today. With CPHS News, I'm Madeline Roberts. Have a wonderful Wednesday, Cedar Park.
Thanks, Madeline. Up next is today's episode of the Pack Chat.
Welcome back to the Pack Chat, our student voice opinion segment. I'm joined today by my co-hosts Sam Mack and Victor Martinez, as well as our guest co-host Katie Smith, as we discuss this week's most trending topics. With that being said, let's get started. First, the Attorney General, William Barr, announced that there is no widespread voter fraud from the 2020 presidential election. Several claims were made in swing states such as Georgia, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, but the FBI has investigated those claims. Before the election, Barr was critical of mail-in voting, but still says that they have found no evidence of widespread voter fraud. What do you guys think about this? Is this something different than what you thought was going on? And, William Barr has been quite an ally to President Trump, so for him to come out and say that there's no voter fraud, what do you think that means for the Trump campaign and the Republican Party?
I think that it means that they're kind of done. Like, voter fraud is a very hard thing to come out and establish, and I feel like once it's come out that there isn't any, that you kind of just got to move on and wait 4 more years for your next shot.
I do think that it's very interesting that Barr is finally going against what Trump is saying, because President Trump has been saying for months at this point that this election was full of voter fraud. And the fact that somebody who has been an ally to him for so long is coming out and saying the opposite is very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really hoping that by him coming out and saying that there's no voter fraud, that, we see other Republican leaders take that lead as well, because, I feel like they know that there was no widespread voter fraud, but it's kind of hard, to go against the leader of technically your own party when they are the president. And so I'm hoping that this, will encourage others to come out and kind of control the craziness and all of the claims that are, going on in their states.
I'm interested to see how these kind of like more prominent Republicans and like Trump supporters and just like, people in general that did like support the idea of voter fraud and kind of believe it was real, like I'm interested to see how long people hold on to it.
Yeah, definitely. Next, Joe Exotic, a familiar name to Tiger King fans, is potentially on the list of people President Donald Trump is considering pardoning before his term is over. No one is quite sure how Donald Trump knows who Joe Exotic is, but it has been reported that Joe Exotic has spent thousands in order for his case to be heard at the White House. What do you guys think about this? I know we talked about this a while back, but I've heard that it's a little bit more official now. He could actually be pardoned. And, what do you guys think about that?
I just think it's so random. Like, Joe Exotic, like, there's definitely, I feel like there's more people, or not more, but different people that you could have pardoned, but Joe Exotic just seems like super random to me, and like I don't even know like what kind of ties they would have to even get there to that point.
Definitely. And I mean, the crime he committed was, it was almost murder. So that's also very interesting to me.
Yeah, it just seems very, I don't know, just out of the blue, the fact that out of all of these people, Trump is choosing Joe Exotic. And it's kind of, it's a blast from the past, from the very beginning of quarantine when Tiger King was such a big thing and it was all everybody was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am quite curious as to how Donald Trump even learned who Joe Exotic was. Like, I'm really wondering if there has been some contact between the two.
Maybe he wants to say
Tiger King at the beginning of quarantine.
Maybe. Finally, Spotify users' favorite time of year is here, Spotify Wrapped. Users get a full recap of their favorite artists, their top songs, and more from this year. Do you guys use Spotify? And if so, how did that go for you guys this year?
I had to get a new phone and I couldn't re-download Spotify, so I had to use Apple Music now.
Oh no.
Dang.
I also am an Apple Music user.
Ooh.
Dang, Victor, looks like it's just me and you.
I use Spotify. Mine, I think, so I've only been using Spotify for like a little bit over a year, so it was like kind of all over the place, especially because I feel like my music taste has changed a lot recently. But overall, I was pretty happy with it. What about
Yeah,
you?
I guess I wasn't very surprised. I am a very big Taylor Swift fan, so I'm not surprised that the majority of my top songs were Taylor Swift songs, and that, that was my top artist. But
Right.
I think it's kind of funny that you mentioned that yours has changed a bit, because in the beginning of the year,
Mhm.
someone hacked my Spotify. And
Oh,
I didn't really mind. Their music taste was very, 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 very interesting. I've never heard any of the songs before ever. And I felt kind of bad kicking them out of my Spotify by like changing my password. But I remember the only reason that I did was because I didn't want them to mess up my Spotify Wrapped. And the two songs that they kept playing did end up making it on my top songs of 2020
oh
playlist.
my God, that's so
Kind
fun.
of funny. And that's all we have for today. Remember, T Wolfpack, there's always time to chat.
Thanks, Pack Chat hosts.
That's all we have for you today. Make sure you're keeping up with all of our content, so head over to our YouTube at CPHS News.
Make sure to catch the show on Friday for a story over the impact coronavirus had on mental health. TiVo Spotlight with Madeline Roberts, your top 3 things. Luke Johnson and Katie Wimmers will have your Friday sports report with the hype video and your pet of the week. With CPHS News, I'm Abby Martinez.
And I'm Ella Neal. Remember to make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.